Well, welcome to Schenectady today. In and around the capital region, we're so happy you're joining us today. We've got a great show for you today with lots, a little bit artsy at the end of it, but we're going to be talking about a lot of great information at the beginning of the show. We're going to be talking first about nutrition for seniors. This is National Nutrition Month, so we're going to hit that right hard right at the beginning of the show. Then we're going to be talking about wills and estate planning with an attorney, and he's Brian, and he'll be on the show today to talk about that. And then we're going to talk about a big event coming up in Lake George, which is to raise money for research for diabetes. Then we're going to be speaking with a designer, a fashion designer, and Peggy Gray is here. She does 22 Shades of Gray. I have actually one of her pieces on today, which is kind of fun. And then we're going to be going to Cambridge and talking to the Valley Artisans Market and find out what they have. They have brought some wonderful artsy stuff with us, because we have paintings and we have some sculptures, so we'll be showing that and talking about that in the show. And for our breaks today, just recently the National Symphony of Cuba was here. They were over at the Troy Music Hall, but they were here at Proctor's the very first time they were in the United States, and so we're going to be showing some of that footage as well to kind of give you a reminder of what a wonderful orchestra they were. But we're going to talk right now with our first guest. Lester, you're with us today, Rosenzweig, and you are with the Cornell Cooperative Extension, talking about nutrition. How important is nutrition?
Nutrition is very important.
Yeah.
It's like water, like air. We need it to live.
And when we talk nutrition, are we talking about the vitamins that are in the foods, or our minerals? What is, to protein and fats and sugars?
Yeah, we're basically talking about everything.
Okay.
Everything food.
I can hold that up.
Yeah,
maybe,
that's
and
the my plate. That's what we use for instruction. And of course, we have fruits and vegetables, your grains, your protein, your dairy products, and what you don't see there are healthy oils.
Oh yeah,
and
like
fats.
And we talk about olive oil and canola oil, and coconut oil seems to be popping up a little bit too. What's going on with that?
Coconut oil. It's a little controversial in terms.
Because it's supposed to have more
saturated fat, but good saturated fat. So the verdict's not out with it.
Yeah.
But people do use it. It's has a nice taste for it.
It's good for your hair and everything else, right?
And yeah, good for your skin too.
Yeah, good.
And it has a nice taste. So
good. And I know that you, we're talking about the National Nutrition Month, but one of your projects, I would say, or the programs that you're looking at is nutrition for seniors.
Yes.
And we find that seniors tend to do quick meals, maybe not balanced, and just kind of whatever is there, maybe cereal or something. How can we get them to eat better?
Well, there's a campaign launched a couple years ago by the National Council on Aging and the Meals on Wheels Association of America to put out the whole thing about, hey, people are malnourished, seniors are malnourished. I mean, there are other populations malnourished too, but we're focusing on seniors in my program anyway. And I've done some outreach with our nutrition groups and our Meals on Wheels people for people to be aware of the signs of malnutrition. You don't have to be thin as a rail and frail to be malnourished.
No, it's just you're not getting the right nutrients.
Right.
You may be eating a lot of candy.
You could be overweight,
and,
and you're just eating bad carbs and things like that, and you're not getting the protein, the vitamins, and minerals you need to keep up your immune system, your eyesight, your brain function, muscle strength.
And we look at lutein for the eyes, and of course that you get that for tomatoes, so, things like that. And then if you need potassium, it's bananas, and so there's foods that we know are very strong in certain minerals and, magnesium, and which is very important too.
But as we get older, we lose some of our taste buds. Our body doesn't function as well as it used to in absorbing nutrients and things like that. We may not know when we're thirsty or recognize hunger. We're on different medications that might affect our appetite. We may be depressed, which affects our appetite too.
Absolutely, and of course you bring up something which maybe this isn't nutrition, but it's water. Water is so important, and I find that when I've been to visit my aunt who was in Kingsway at the time, and I went to her table and there was like 6 glasses of water there. And I says, aren't you drinking it? And she says, oh, I don't like to drink. And I'm thinking, you're taking medications which are not being processed through the body because there's no fluid in there to do anything with. I don't know how you get people to maybe flavor it. I have no idea.
Well, about 2 years ago when I started with Cooperative Extension, and my mother had a car accident. She was in rehab, and they put her on diuretics. And I was talking to her 2 days before she had to have dialysis because she went into kidney failure.
Yeah, because she wasn't drinking anyone,
enough,
and they were pulling the fluids out of her body.
Yeah.
Nobody's overseeing this, but that's a whole other thing. But how can they get Meals on Wheels? Of course, is a great way, I guess, if they're eligible for that.
Sure.
But how do you get people to understand how important nutrition is and what they should keep in their homes to get that meal?
Well, I mean, there's constant education, but you can bring a horse to water, but you can't make him drink, kind of thing. And that's kind of the way it is with people. People are independent. They make their own choices on what they want to do.
Yeah.
And whether they want to be active and watch what they eat or not.
Yeah, it's just so easy sometimes to grab, something that isn't has no, what do they call it, empty calories?
Yeah. There's a lot of help out there. Maybe not enough help, though, in food stamps and things like that. But this situation also occurs in hospitals and nursing homes, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And there's a big awareness to that, too.
And
just
even if you give them a good meal,
environment and things like that, people are just not eating.
Yeah.
Yes, there are supplements, and supplements are good when they're necessary, but for the most part, it's food.
Yeah, that's where you get your nutrients. Yeah. And we talk about food waste, and I know you brought a couple slides about food waste. How can we stop that? I mean, the worst place is a restaurant. When I see the food that gets tossed at a restaurant, it's like, oh, take it home, do something with it, but don't throw it out.
Yeah. Well, the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics, every year, March is National Nutrition Month, and we also recognize dietitians and what they do.
And you do good work.
And this year was Go Further with Food. And the whole theme is food waste, cutting down on food waste. And a couple years ago, the Academy came out with, a report. And it was, what dietitians, what we can do in school lunch program, because there's a lot of waste in the schools, the cafeterias, things like that. A lot of places. The Restaurant Association is getting very involved too with this. So it's really a team effort. A big thing is 40% of the food that's grown doesn't end up the table. It's wasted in the field. And we call it ugly fruit, ugly vegetables. It's not quite green. It's,
but the nutrition is still there.
Oranges are not orange, things
but
like that.
But the nutrition is there.
The nutrition, two-headed lettuce or carrots that have different branches on it, but they're still good.
Yeah.
But
so
that's just part of it.
And that way you have to almost go from the farm. Allow people to go in and take the stuff that's laying on the ground,
and
that kind of thing. And also, I know that some markets are actually having an ugly fruit ugly veggie fruit section.
I was excited to see that.
Yeah, isn't that cool? So that you
avocados.
Can go, And I guess if you're preparing a display of them, you want them to look perfect. But if you're going to be chopping them up, doing anything else with them, just use them. And I throw a lot of vegetables in soups. So, even the outsides of lettuce, or romaine or kale or whatever it is that maybe, you chop up and you throw them in a soup.
That's the magic of soup, is taking your leftovers, the stuff that's wilted, your celery and onions and things like that, putting in some beans, canned beans or whatever, and making some nice soup. And freezing it too. The freezer is one way to cut down on waste. You bring home food from the restaurant, you don't feel like eating it the next day, put it in the freezer.
And if you're like me, you go into the freezer and the little label that you put on has fallen off, and I call that a mystery lunch. Because I have no idea whether it's from an Italian restaurant, a Chinese restaurant, or wherever I got it. But it's fun because I open it up, I go, oh, that was so good.
But that's where a lot of waste is, just from what we buy. If we buy things unnecessarily, we got too much food
Well,
than
I
we
even
need.
found out you can freeze onions if you chop them up and freeze them in little bags.
Blanching and everything else.
Yeah.
This month I did a program for the nutrition meal sites, our cafes in town, talking about cutting down on food waste. What's in your refrigerator, how to use
it up.
how to store it,
Yeah.
very important.
Yeah, because you
how
don't want
long
it to
can
be
you
spoiled,
store
yeah.
things? Reading the label that says when things expire.
Yeah.
Do they really expire?
No, they don't really
No.
expire on that day.
It's more of a standard, a guarantee, but just because it says on the label it's expired doesn't mean it is.
How
but
many
the
years
store
did we
doesn't sell
go
it.
before that where there were no expiration dates
Right.
and everybody was just doing just
It's
fine?
basically, it's only required
Yeah.
on baby food.
Yeah, okay. So, well, anyways, you've learned a little bit here. Please think about what you put in your mouth. Try and make every bite something that has some nutrition. And oh, okay, once in a while, it's your birthday,
It's
you have a
okay.
piece of cake.
It's
you know.
okay to splurge.
But it's okay. But try to think about things. Eat fruit, eat your vegetables, and keep your meat to a minimum. You don't need all that meat.
Sure.
And give Lester a call. Maybe he'll give you some tips.
That's right. We have a website. Actually, Cornell Cooperative Extension Schenectady has a good website with lots of resources. There's now a senior nutrition section too. Malnutrition information is on there, as well as a screening tool where you can answer questions and identify whether you have some problems where you need help.
It may not be your problem, but it might be someone you know, someone you're caring for.
More likely.
Yeah, think
Yeah,
more in those
yeah.
terms too. Lester, it's always
Thank
good
you.
to see you here. We're going to take a quick break, and next segment we're going to be learning about wills and estate planning. How important is that? It's about as important as nutrition is. Stay tuned. Okay, and right now I have an attorney with me. His name is Brian Lyda. He's from our area, or up near Saratoga, right? Up
Saratoga,
there, yeah. But you're going to be talking about wills and estate planning. Now, we talked about nutrition, which is very important, of course, but wills are essential. Why is it, I mean, my father, for instance, he figured he wasn't going to die. So why would he do a will? I mean, he felt that if he did a will, he was going to die. Tell us why people shouldn't think that way.
A will is a legal document, and it expresses the intent of, for example, your father, what he wants to do when he passes. It's a document that allows you to change whatever it is you want. But for example, if you are recently married and have no children, you might think, maybe I don't need a will. There's a statute that covers that. But in the event that you have a child, you may want to name a guardian for your child.
Well, that's exactly what I did. Was when I had the kids, then I had to think about guardianships. Now the kids are gone, so I mean not gone, but they're not minors anymore. So now I'm thinking differently about wills, and I've had it revised maybe 5 or 6 times in my lifetime.
And it's a document that you give a lot of thought to. You think about your kids and grandchildren, and your life changes, so your will changes with you. So you want to make sure that not only your will, but your estate planning documents.
And that's the other thing, is the estate planning, because there's everything else, your retirement, all these other things that came into your
life.
Into your life, yeah.
Well, most people were born without diapers, and most people want to die without diapers.
Yeah.
So you can't take a lot with you. So your will allows you to figure that out during your lifetime on who you want to get what. And it's an important document that you give thought to. In addition, you give thought to a power of attorney. For example, if you have someone you trust in case you're out of the country and you need to do things, that document is important.
Most people think, well, if I'm incapacitated. But even a power of attorney has all those little check boxes.
Exactly.
So you can check this, this, and this.
It's like a la carte. You say, I want to give someone the power to change my real estate composition if I want, or my banking. But again, it's someone you trust, so you don't just give that freely. And they have a new power of attorney that allows you to, I guess, put checks and balances on the person who has that power.
Oh, that's a good idea,
you can monitor that.
Yeah. Because there is some fraud involved with the elderly where somebody will cozy up to someone who doesn't have a family nearby and get power of attorney, and then bam.
I like it when the grandchild comes into the office with grandmom and says, I want her to have power of attorney. I'm like, do you mind just stepping out of the office for a second and let me speak to grandmom? You know, and it's really important that that person they understand because there is fraud, and there's our role as attorneys is to protect our client.
Absolutely, we in my own family there was fraud with an uncle that I had, that a neighbor cozied up, and then the next thing you knew, a week before he died, he turned everything over to her. So I mean, it was one of those things that. You know, in the family, what could you do? I mean, you know, there's not much.
It's the deathbed confession. You have your attorney come in and try to change things at the last minute. And some people don't question it, but I typically get
you kind of want to ask a few questions.
Right.
Estate planning, should you go through your attorney for that? Would that be something? And I know you're also a real estate broker. I mean, you have a great background, actually, that you have an overview of everything. What is that something through an attorney you would do?
Most definitely. A lot of, I guess, websites out there have form wills, and you don't know where they're coming from. It could be a California will
that wouldn't stand up in New York even.
It's like an ill-fitting suit. You got to have it tailored. But I spend a lot of time unwinding people's previous wills that they got online, and it's just more expensive. It's more of a hassle because that document has legal effect. Living wills, for example, that might be something you think about when you want to anticipate going into a nursing home or a hospital environment.
Right.
You don't want things done to you or your body.
You have a DNR if you want a DNR or something like that.
That's all part of it. So the power of attorney, the living will, the will.
So you need someone to kind of guide you through this, because the average person, and I consider myself average, doesn't know all of the nuances of.
And nor do you really care about all the nuances. You put that into the hands of your attorney.
Of a professional.
It is definitely something you want to give thought to. I can't recommend, I'm not just doing a plug for other attorneys out there, but attorneys have a license to practice law, and they do the best they can for the circumstances, and every will is different. You may have
every family
every
is
person's
different. Whether they own a business or whether they have whatever it is, they own land in the Bahamas or you know, they inherited land in the Soviet Union or something. I mean, it's like all these pieces have to come together.
Exactly. And you mentioned a business owner. That's an animal of itself. That business wants to continue, but maybe it's a mom and pop shop.
Yeah.
And the dad has to hand the baton off to a son or grandchild. And that person may or may not want it. So what do you do with that? And the will helps kind of isolate some of the issues. That discussion, I implore those viewers out there, just have a discussion with your attorney and find out what it is you have to do to make that happen. I think the statistic is 50% of people out there don't have a will.
Really? I didn't know it was that high. I've always had one because I felt it was important.
I know attorneys who don't have wills. It's amazing. But some people...
They're afraid they're going to die if they do that will.
They don't want to talk about it. They're like, oh, I'll do that tomorrow.
Oh, I'm not going to. I'm good. I'm healthy. I'm good. Another issue that comes up now more than ever, I think, are the domestic partners and the same-sex marriages. I mean, now those, thank goodness we allow those marriages because now they're protected.
Exactly.
And they've had 40, 50 years of living together, creating an estate together, and now they're protected. Thank goodness.
It's the same like with a husband who lost his wife, is a widower, and now he has a girlfriend, and they don't get married because they have a family that's existing.
Yeah.
Well, a will would really help that couple, domestic partner, however.
Whether you're married or not,
Or not.
you can do it through a will.
Because some people just forget and they think they live in the house, that they're going to own it, but then someone else inherits that house and says, I'm sorry,
I'm going to move,
you've been
we're
my
selling it tomorrow.
Right, see you later, I'm going to sell it. And
Yeah.
what do? You have no rights in that
Yeah,
one.
yeah, yeah.
It's
So I think
interesting.
it's important.
Very, very
And
important.
I'm glad you brought that up, that your will take care of some of those issues.
You give it thought.
Yeah,
exactly.
give it
makes
thought.
you think about things.
So if you don't have a will, shame on you, right? Do you have a will?
I do.
Oh, see,
It's a long one.
I wondered if he was one of those
It's a long
attorneys.
one. Yeah, that's very funny.
But it's important to get a will, make sure that it's there. And I know that it's sort of like we don't like to think about the end of our lifetime. And of course, a will makes you, and I have to admit it, when I was sitting there working on it, it was like, oh my goodness, I'm going to be gone someday.
5 times you went back to that drawing board,
Yeah,
though.
and each time I revised
You get a little easier.
It.
It gets a little easier.
Easier. Now I go, I just mark it up in yellow and hand it back to my attorney. So
Well, you also have a trust. You
Yeah.
can put a lot of things outside of the will. And that's
Yeah.
another document. There's a whole
And make sure that any
ensemble.
accounts that you have beneficiaries on
Exactly.
them, because you don't want them to just kind of go into that unclaimed funds thing.
It's always nice to find that you own
Yeah,
something
you-
you didn't know you
right.
had, but thank you.
We've been speaking with Brian Lyda on the show. He's an attorney from the Saratoga area, and we're talking about wills and estate planning. I hope that we can get him on again to talk about maybe other issues that are coming up, and maybe things that happen in our through the government or through other things that come up that we want
Anytime.
to
Yes,
revisit
anytime.
that.
Thank you
So
very
nice
much
to
for
meet
having
you,
me.
Brian. Yeah. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to find about the big thing that's going on at the Great Escape in May, which is a walk to raise money for diabetes research. Stay tuned. Okay, here we are back again, and I have a young guest on today. His name is Spencer Kimmelblatt, and it's his birthday, so happy birthday for your birthday. And this is his first time on TV. And with him, he brought Ray along with, right?
Hi,
Ray,
yes.
You're kind of his buddy for today, huh?
Yep, I'm his mom.
Yeah, I know. Good. And we're going to talk about the JD, Juvenile Diabetes Foundation, Research Foundation, right?
That's right,
But,
that's right.
But it's not just for juvenile diabetes, it's for all diabetes that they're trying to raise money, is that correct?
Well, absolutely. So we used to be called the Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation, but now today 85% of people who live with type 1 diabetes, like myself, I've had it for 28 years. Obviously, I'm not a kid anymore, and the term juvenile diabetes doesn't really
It doesn't resonate well.
Right, and
Yeah.
that's not really what the disease is, because anyone can get type
Right.
1 diabetes, even in their 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s.
And type 1 is defined as?
Type 1 is an autoimmune disease, so your immune system attacks the insulin-producing cells in your pancreas, where type 2 diabetes is a metabolic disease. So you're still producing insulin, but your body
you need
can't.
to boost it more, so they use drugs to do that as
Right,
well.
right.
And usually the one where you have the autoimmune, you need insulin or one of the variations of insulin to, now they've got the new types of insulin as well.
Well, they are working on faster insulins, which is amazing because the insulins that are created in a lab just don't work as fast as, someone like yourself who doesn't have diabetes, I presume. Your insulin, as soon as your body knows that you're about to sit down and eat a meal, your body is starting to work. Whereas when I take insulin through my insulin pump, I can eat something and my blood sugar can rise quickly before the insulin even starts working.
Yeah. And it's so important because it regulates, as you eat, it has to regulate the sugar that's coming in or the carbohydrates that are producing it.
So the way
the fats are are also important.
Right, and so what happens in your body, so someone, when they're diagnosed with type 1 diabetes, their pancreas does not produce insulin anymore. In order to survive, they need insulin. So insulin is like a key. It's a hormone that allows your body to get energy from the food that you eat. And if you don't take insulin, you will die.
Exactly.
Someone with type 2 diabetes, for the most part, if they do not take insulin, they can have severe long-term complications, but they may not have such acute problems.
And sometimes the metabolic can be reversed through weight loss, through exercise, through a number of things. So don't get discouraged.
Right.
Because there's many things that you can do to help yourself.
And your guest who is here talking about nutrition, I mean, nutrition is really important in both type 1 and type 2 diabetes. Type 2 diabetes can be reversed, but there are genetic factors that cause it, as well as, typically they think, oh, if you're overweight, you cause this. But for type 1, there's nothing that you ate or did. No. And even in type 2, there's a lot of genetic factors. There's no help blaming anyone for their disease.
And sometimes the drugs that you're taking will throw you into a diabetic state. So, and statins are quite common to do that as well.
Right.
So, these are things, talk to your physician, look at your regimen, your drug regimen, see what drugs you're taking. Always make sure you have that list with you so you can discuss it with your pharmacist or your physician or whoever your healthcare provider is so that they understand that. But right now we're talking about how to raise money, and one of them is that you're having a walk coming up at the Great Escape, and I'll bet Spencer's going to be there.
Yep.
Well, we're not gonna be there on the day it's happening, but we're trying to raise enough money to cure type 1 diabetes.
Well, that would be great. Yeah. Wouldn't that be great to find a cure?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We have a lot of people in our family with type 1, right, Spencer?
Yep.
Okay, so it's more genetic then, if that happens.
Guess.
Yeah. And the insulin pump, of course, was just a wonderful innovation that they came up with. Because I remember years ago when there was no, laboratory insulin. It was always you had to get it from the animals and things like that. Yeah.
Right. So when I first was diagnosed in 1990, I took pork-based insulin. So now there's much more synthetic insulins, but the only way to monitor your blood sugar was to check your blood sugar, do a finger stick multiple times a day, and take insulin by a needle. So
and usually 2 or 3 shots a day, and the long-acting and the short-acting, you use the Ilotin or you use one of the other.
And so today, I wear a continuous glucose monitor, so I can actually look at my cell phone and know what my blood sugar is at any time of the day. And I also wear an insulin pump that gives me insulin, so I don't need to take a shot every time. No. But about a year ago, JDRF actually, and one of the things the walk raises money for is better technology, because that's really helping us live better quality life. But about a year ago, the first ever commercially available artificial pancreas system came to market in our country and in our community. The first person in our community started wearing it in April of last year. And that automates the delivery of insulin based on what your blood sugar is. And it's really revolutionizing care of people with type 1 diabetes. And without programs like the Walk and the millions of dollars that people raise every $10 at a time, we wouldn't have technology that helps us live longer, healthier lives.
Right. So please support this. If you're able to come, it's going to be held on May 12th, and that's going to be at the Great Escape. And if you go there, you can go to their website and check it out, and we've been putting that up on the screen. And you can go ahead and raise some money, help them to find a cure for type 1 diabetes.
And the best part of the walk is for every person that raises $100, they'll get a free admission ticket to Great Escape on the day of the walk. It's opening day. We have a mom's tent planned for type 1 moms. It's going to be an absolutely beautiful day, and we're really, really excited. But we need the entire community to come together to cure this disease.
We're going to do it. We're going to make sure it happens. Good.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's cure
Okay.
diabetes.
We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to be talking about 22 Shades of Grey. Stay tuned.
Oh.
Yeah. And we're talking 22 Shades of Grey. No, it's not the movie, not the book.
No.
We're talking about fabric, we're talking about fashion, and we have a model here, and actually I'm kind of modeling one of them, sort of. I'll stand up, that's kind of what it looks like. And just drop my microphone, of course, because that's what I do. And you have a model too. So, Peggy, tell us about how you got started.
I started in the industry when I was like 18. I needed a job. It was a little local factory in Ballston Spa, and my mother worked there, and she said, come in, they're hiring. I went, and at that point, it was just a way to make a living.
Was that the factory that was making clothing for the retail store?
No, it was a brand name, and I can't remember anymore.
Okay,
So many years ago. But from there, I went to work. I'm sure you'll recognize the name of Ursula of Switzerland.
Well, that's what I mean.
Waterford.
Yeah, my cousin worked there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I worked for Ursula for 16 years and worked my way up to
That's
middle
the one
management.
I was thinking of, yeah.
Yep, learned a lot.
Yeah, my
from
cousins
working
both
there.
worked there.
But I always had my own sideline business. I always made my own clothing because I just like
It's
to
fun
look
to
different.
do,
It's
isn't
fun
it?
to do.
Yeah.
It's fun to do, and I like.
I do a lot of
to do it.
tailoring when I get something and then I take it in or do this.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So that's how I got started, and then it just built from there. You know, people bought, and I made more, and.
Well, you have a model, Mary. Mary, what are you wearing today? Well, I'll let her say because she's got the microphone.
This is my best-selling jacket. It has a peplum.
Very,
waist.
very nice
Has
looking.
pockets. I put pockets in all of my jackets
Yeah,
and
I know I have a
wraps.
pocket on this.
Yep. And this can be worn belted or unbelted. It can be worn with the sleeves long or rolled up. And everything I do is machine washable and dryable.
Isn't that great?
Yep.
Anything that says dry clean only, it's like,
It's
it's like,
pass.
it stays on the rack.
Yep. So you can see it's
Yeah,
a
I
little
love the
longer
back
in the
on
back than it is in the front.
Very slimming.
Yep.
Good. Okay, and what you're wearing too is also.
Yes, this is my go-to blouse. I have 4 or 5 of them. I just simply walk
really
in the
like
closet
that,
and
yeah.
throw it on. It has 2 lengths. I have a shorter length for women who are a little shorter. I prefer the longer length. But again, this is the way this comes out of the dryer, just like this.
So you don't have to iron them at all.
No.
See, and what's nice about things, fashion such as this, is that you can wear like just a plain black outfit and throw it on, and it's got pizzazz.
Yep, you don't really have to think a lot about it or plan a lot. I wear black pants and black tank, brown pants, brown tank. And
Oh,
just
wait a minute. I got the memo.
There you go. And just change your jacket, and you've got a great outfit with
Oh,
a
and
beautiful
look at
piece
that.
of jewelry. This is my 1930s Parisian style coat, and this is the brick with the black trim. I also have it in black with the eggshell trim. It also comes in brown, and
I like the fabric. Where do you get your fabrics?
I get it all over. Fabric is tricky. Probably most of it I order online.
Yeah, I like the collar. I mean, that's really, with the black behind it,
Yep.
that it adds a nice dimension to it.
Yep.
And you could wear anything under that.
Absolutely.
Or, yeah. And
Absolutely.
wear it open or closed, or
Yep.
yeah, I like that.
Yep.
And that looks like kind of a go-to
It
piece
is.
that you'd have.
It's very popular.
Yeah.
Very popular. I've sold a lot.
And it would go
of those
good
pieces.
under, dressy or even wearing jeans or something. It would look
Yes.
nice. Yeah.
Yes,
Great.
absolutely.
So you buy your fabrics on the internet. You find them. I'd be afraid to do that. I mean, can you know what they feel like, or or probably the description would be helpful.
Yeah, you have to read the descriptions carefully, and after a while you get to know the companies that you really work the best for you, and that are true to what they say the product is. So it's fun. Sometimes it's not
Now,
great.
do you
but
work with a pattern, or do you work with your brain?
I work with everything. Everything. If I see a style that I really like, I might buy one and make a pattern off of that.
Yeah.
So if somebody has a jacket or top
they
they
love.
really love, they can bring it to me, and
You'll
I can make the
reconstruct.
pattern without ripping it apart, so they don't need to ruin their.
Oh, now I like that.
This
That is stunning.
I've sold a lot of these.
That is just absolutely stunning.
This is a ruffle jacket. Has one little button here at the waist, and if you want to turn around, Mary.
Oh, I love that.
Yep. That is.
That
just
is
a
very,
great
very,
piece, which I do in solids and prints.
No, and the print that you chose there is quite nice.
It sells
actually.
in print. It sells best in that print for whatever reason.
Does the fabric talk to you?
Yes, absolutely.
It says, I want to look like this.
In my studio, I have a ton of fabric.
You look great, Mary. I love that. That looks
Ton
fabulous.
of fabric, ton of patterns, and people can come to my studio and they can create their own style. When you walk in a store and you see something you like, most of the time it's in the wrong color or it doesn't fit right. If you come to my studio, we can take care of all of those issues.
problems, yeah.
Right, all of those issues. And you can really design your own wardrobe,
Yeah.
which is fun.
You make
It
a
really is.
statement when you have your own wardrobe.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You can have one of a kind. You can buy your own fabric. If you want to go to a fabric store and buy fabric and bring it to me, and I have tons of garments people can try on, to make sure that it fits right and it's what they want.
You know what's really neat? I mean, I'm sitting here chit-chatting with Peggy, that it's so exciting to meet someone who is creative. Not only that, we can all be creative, but to do something with that creativity and to start a business. And how difficult was it to start a business?
It's tough. I mean, you really have, because there's
You're
a
a
lot of
woman-owned
competition. I'm a
business, yeah.
woman-owned business, and there's tons of competition. I mean, you think of all the places you can buy clothing from. My customer is the customer that either wants something really unique and different, or has her own sense of style that she can't find in the marketplace, or the woman that goes into the stores and comes out in tears because she can't find anything that she likes, or in the fabric she likes, or the colors,
Or the
that
size.
it fits.
Or the
Fit
size?
is really, really good.
I mean, who wears a size 0? Come on. Nobody wears a size 0 unless you were just
No.
born.
The average woman in the United States is size 14.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a cute little
I like
topper.
that. That's really cool.
It has a little
Oh, I like the cut on it too.
little hood on it and this little trim in the back, which really sets it off. This is done in a knit, so it's very easy to wear, very, very comfortable.
Oh, I like that. That's
I
really
order
cool.
a lot of my buttons come from Germany.
Oh, so you even your buttons are.
Even the buttons are unique and,
Yeah.
and different. Yep.
Well, that's what makes it. And you know, you say that. I have changed buttons
On things you
on
bought.
things that I bought
Yep.
because I wanted something that would be.
Yep, that
a
really
little bit-
set it apart.
Exactly.
Yep.
So I change buttons all the time.
Yep.
So that's cool.
Yep, yep.
When I do. So do you get to keep all those? I love that, and I love your use of the animal prints that are.
Well, you can see this was
Is that the same
the
material?
same. Yeah, I save everything.
Yeah, so you can use it for.
So I can use it for little trims like that. Might not be enough to
make a
make
whole
a whole
outfit,
garment,
yeah.
but yep.
Is that, and how is that lined? Just curious.
It's not lined.
It's not lined. It's just, it is what it is. Okay, okay.
I do have all commercial machines,
Uh-huh.
so they're finished on the inside.
Yeah, they're finished.
Yes, they're
yeah.
all finished.
I just wondered if it was, actually I thought it was lined with the fabric. And then when she opened, see, because I saw it there, and I thought maybe that was part of it, but it wasn't. I like that a lot. You look very New York.
And again,
in
that can be made in many, many colors and combinations. So,
Yeah. So starting a business, of course, is difficult. It's
Yes.
not easy anymore to just kind of open up, put a shingle out, and hope for the best. But you've been successful.
I have. I do a lot of working.
And
I go
that's
to a
how I
lot of-
met you. I met you at a network, at a
yep.
leadership summit.
Yep, exactly. And I do a lot of the networking face-to-face because that's how people get to know you and trust you.
Yeah.
I also do a lot of fashion shows. I have a fashion show coming up in April for the Special Olympics.
Okay.
So if anybody is interested in that, it's local. I don't remember the exact date, but you can go online and under the Special Olympics. I'm also doing a fashion show.
Well, you also have a web page as well.
I have a website, 22shadesofgrey.com. And I had the name way before the book
Yeah, okay.
came out. And I'm also doing a fashion show at Glenn Sanders in November for the Schenectady BPW,
Oh, nice.
which is a great
Yeah, it's a great-
organization.
yeah, it is.
And it's a great event.
Yeah,
So,
it is.
So I love doing fashion shows. I do a lot of artisans market. In fact, I do have
And we're having them on
garments
the show today.
at the artisans market that you're going to interview next. It's a great group of ladies and a great place. So,
So if you're interested in any of these fashions, you can certainly contact her. Do you have a storefront?
I have a studio.
A studio, okay.
In Buskirk, which is
Okay.
in the middle of cow country.
That's okay.
But it's a beautiful drive. It's a beautiful, beautiful countryside. And it's about 7 miles outside of Schenectady.
Yeah, okay, good.
So
I'm glad you came in today
Yeah, me too.
to Proctor's to show off some of the items that you've created. I just love creative people. I just do. I can't tell you how much I enjoy. I keep hoping that it will rub off on me, but I'm not sure how much anything is rubbing off on me these days anyway, except maybe a few calories. But, anyways, yeah. But we're going to take a quick break, and thank you so much for being here, both of you. And Mary Hamilton is our model for the day. And now we're going to go over to Cambridge. We're going from Buskirk over to Cambridge to learn a little bit about the artisans market, which of course you told me all about. So this turned out perfect. Stay tuned and you'll hear a little bit more from the orchestra. Stay tuned. are back again, and we're here with the Valley Artisans Marketplace. Well, this isn't the whole marketplace because you'll see a photo of what that marketplace looks like. But with me, I have Mary Lou Strad, and you are the manager there. Is that correct?
I'm the co-business manager.
Co-business manager. Let's get that straight.
Yeah.
And you brought a few of the items, and along with it, she's brought Bliss McIntosh, who was kind of the founder. Is that right?
I was one of many
One
artists,
of many founders that
but
got together.
I began with that group in 1981.
Wow, that's been around a while
Yeah.
then. Yeah,
37 years.
And it's amazing, the artwork. She brought a couple of pieces here. There's one, where's the, oh, the other one is behind me. Let me get out of the way. I want you to see this. This is really a study in shadow. That's what I would call it. I mean, that's really, the shadows on that are wonderful.
Thank
Who
you.
did it?
Me.
You did it.
I'm an artist
I didn't even
as well.
know. Well, I knew you were an artist, but I didn't know this was yours. But anyway, did everybody see it? Okay, good. I'll get out of the way. And is that yours as well?
It is, yes.
Okay, good. And I love that.
Summer and winter.
Yeah, really, it does. Well, it looks wonderful.
These are all local places.
Do you take photographs and then work from the photograph?
Most of the time now I do it
Yeah,
that way
I think
rather
most
than
artists
working
are
on
doing
location.
that. Yeah, because location, the light changes, and
It
there's
does. It's
yeah.
very.
And then it
it's very
starts raining in the
challenging when
middle of
you're-
it, right?
It's very challenging.
Bliss, what is your art media? What do you,
My art are baskets.
Oh, baskets.
Natural fiber baskets, black ash and birch bark, spruce root.
oh, look at that.
So
That's
I've been-
amazing.
I've been making baskets from materials that I gather from the woods.
I don't know if you can see that, but look, I'm
long
going to
time.
tip it over because I want you to see the inside. Can you see the inside? There we are. I'm sorry. I always say, you know, because your left and right on the screen is different than what you're. But that's got birch inside. This is just a beautiful piece. How do you even find the wood to do that? Because, you know, birch sometimes will, you know, break.
I learned to do birch work about 30 years ago, and I harvest from trees that are about to be harvested for timber.
Oh, okay.
And I go
you
in the
just take the
spring.
bark
There's a
off.
certain window of opportunity in the spring when you can remove the bark easily.
Yeah.
And
they don't care
store
when
it.
they harvest them. They don't care about the bark on them anyway.
No, they don't want the bark. I only do it with permission. And
Yeah.
one good sized tree will give me all I need for a year. So
For a year. Okay,
yeah,
good.
yeah.
So and this is, and what do you? I'm
This
sorry.
material is black
You know,
ash.
I am just like so dumb when it comes to basket weaving. I thought maybe that was like just like a plant or something, but no, that's the actual wood, right?
it's the wood. It's the growth rings of the ash tree.
And then you have to sliver them or make them into.
Black ash is unique in that when you pound the log, the growth rings separate, and then you have
a flat piece.
a flat piece that you can cut with scissors. You've transformed the wood into a fiber, and then you can weave with it like a fiber.
Yeah, see, I
and
was
it's
thinking
a traditional art form that the Native Americans
Native Americans have
used.
used for years. And they even get it so tight they can actually put water in them. Some of them, I understand, it's so tight. This is yours too? Is that,
No, this
that's
is
not
another
mine.
artist.
This is amazing too. Look at that with the beads in it. I've never seen anything quite like that.
Yeah, she does. She calls it wicker work.
Okay.
So this is the material that she's using for
Yeah,
those
it's rattan
baskets.
actually.
Okay.
And that's a material that she purchases and dyes and weaves with. So
That's a
she-
beautiful piece.
Sky's the limit with
Just-
her
just-
design.
Yeah, and of course pottery. I've done pottery. I love pottery, and I have
Yeah.
a number of pieces that I've created,
We have a lot
and
of
they're
potters.
so, aren't they wonderful? I mean,
Yeah.
and what I love about pottery is that you can just do whatever you want with this clay, right?
Yeah.
The artist told me, I got the piece the other day, it's a wood-fired pot, and the clay, I think she dug the clay herself to make the pot.
Is this Teru?
So yes,
Yeah.
this is
Teru
Teru.
Simon.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Wonderful.
Yeah, and you can actually put glass in there, and when you fire it, it comes. You have this beautiful shine at the bottom. And Edgar Allan Poe would be happy to see this.
He would. He
That's
would.
a beautiful carving.
This is C.J. Little from Greenwich.
That's a beautiful piece.
Isn't that great?
The raven.
The raven, he looks like he's going to take
Yeah,
flight.
he's just going to take off any minute. They're such beautiful birds
Yeah.
anyway. But listen, the coup de grace here is that gourd that is amazing. can we hold it up? I'm not even going to touch it.
Can.
But it's a gourd which has, it's like a dollhouse almost inside. Can you, I think, yeah, there it is.
This is made.
Towards Malcolm's camera.
Oh, this is made
There
by
it is,
our gourd maker, Chung-Ah Park. She's Korean. And everything inside in the little room she made herself from scratch. And all of the
There's
paintings.
little tables, and there's a bed in there with a bedspread on, and
Yes.
little chairs, and oh my God, this is wonderful.
She wove the little rug that's in there.
Yes, the rug on the floor is woven by her. She was a former weaver. And the paintings on the wall are all reproductions of Van Gogh's paintings,
Oh
famous
my gosh,
paintings.
I'm looking.
And they're
I'm
all
looking for
over.
Starry Night.
Well,
I don't know if that's in there,
There's
but
a little chandelier.
okay.
Yes.
She's got a chandelier.
Well,
Oh my God, there's a chandelier.
It's
on
a
there.
mobile that if you blow very gently through the window, it'll turn around.
It
like a
becomes
mobile.
alive.
Yes.
That's just wonderful. And of course, you have paper crafts. This is a beautiful piece.
Yeah, that's fused glass.
Yes.
That's Cheryl Gutmacher. The Lady's Got Glass is her business.
Oh, her lady's
name.
got glass. Okay, good.
And she's very prolific, does all kinds of work.
Yeah, that's a beautiful piece.
Yeah.
So that's not dyed, it's actually fused.
It's fused.
Yes.
We have a
Can
little
you
top
see it? Look
tape
at,
to
you
the
can see
bottom.
through it, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful piece, beautiful. You wouldn't want to put anything in there, you just want to look at it. It's so pretty. And of course, these are beautiful, these cards. And it looks like that is relief, right? That's...
Well, it's
Or is it a drawing?
It's a reproduction of these are actual dried
That's what I thought. It was
dried
yeah.
flowers and dried leaves and plant pieces. And she has the originals in little pictures. Her name is Martha Starkey. She lives in Saratoga, and she's
Okay.
a longtime member.
No, right there.
Okay.
Wait, there, right there. Good.
And she calls these characters that she creates from dried plant materials petal people.
Petal people.
Petal
oh my
people,
God.
yes.
And then this is lovely too. And this looks like it is art. It's a drawing, right?
Yes, a colored drawing by Lisa Winnie,
Okay.
who's another longtime member.
There it is. I can see it. Yeah, you're good. You're
I'm
perfect.
good?
It's perfect.
Okay.
Yeah.
We've been a juried membership since the very beginning, and we've hovered around 30, between 25 and 30 members from the very beginning.
So these are not. I would like to say these are not crafts per se. This is art, as far as I look at it.
We call ourselves a fine arts and crafts
Okay. All right.
market.
And fine crafts. I
Fine
mean, they're
crafts.
all
Yeah, that's what I mean.
yeah.
It's fine. It's,
Yeah.
it's
Incredibly
yeah,
well
it's
done.
fine is what I would
Yes.
call it.
Yeah.
And you know, when you think arts and crafts, you're thinking of poster paper that you're cutting up and
Yeah.
stuff. No. This stuff, the
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
art that they have here is incredibly beautiful.
We have, I think we just counted up 7 members that do two-dimensional work, paintings. So we have a lot of wall work, and we have, woodworkers, potters, glass, basket makers. Peggy Gray.
Fabric.
I'm also wearing a Peggy Gray.
You're wearing
I'm
it.
wearing
See, I
one
didn't
too.
know that she did quite like that.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
Yep,
I like that.
I have 3 of her pieces.
Yeah.
They're all our
I like the
own
way
best
she mixed the
customers.
denim and stuff with
Oh,
it.
and this is
Oh,
a
that's
scarf
beautiful.
made by a batik artist, Carol Law Conklin.
So that's dyed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's a velvet. That's beautiful. It
yes.
feels like velvet.
Yes, it is
Yeah.
velvet.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I love the fringe on it. I mean, the colors are amazing.
Yes.
Yeah, and this is what art is. It's like you ought to be able to wear it and look at it and make it part of your life. It's not something you go into, well, I'm not saying you don't go into a museum and look at it, but you want art to be part of everything that you do. You want it in your bedroom. I have art in my bathroom.
Sure.
Because, and I have, it's like, it's stunning. It's like, why not, right?
Of course. One
I
thing,
hope they aren't offended that I put it in the bathroom, but I love it there. But I change my art around too.
we should mention that we're located in an historic opera house, Hubbard
Are you
Hall.
really? Okay.
Yes. And we are one of the ground floor businesses.
You're in Hubbard Hall.
We are.
Hubbard Hall.
We
Did not know
are.
that.
That we've
And I
always
know
been
where
there.
Hubbard Hall is, yeah.
Okay. And right next door to us in Hubbard Hall is this delicious restaurant called the Roundhouse Bakery and Cafe. It's been there since July of
Okay.
last year. And so
You can
for
go there.
someone,
It's a nice
you know,
treat.
wants to come and spend a day in Cambridge, they can come to Valley Artisans, they can have lunch at the cafe, go back to Valley Artisans and purchase whatever they looked at prior to lunch.
Adventures don't need to be off a boat or a plane. You can have adventures locally.
Indeed.
Can't you?
Absolutely.
And do it.
Yeah.
Do it.
Cambridge has a great independent bookstore.
Yes.
Cat and Kill Books, and we have a great food co-op, and then you can drive around the beautiful Washington County.
Or take a walk. How about a walk?
Yeah.
Yeah, in here.
Yeah.
I need to say who's coming up on the show next week, and then we're going to come back and talk. We're going to be talking about autism, and that's with Angelo Santa Barbara. We're going to talk with Capitol Repertory Theater. They've got Blythe Spirit and Old Cowards play. It's always a treat to see that. And then we're going to talk about Italian Easter traditions and pastries. We're going to be talking about the Repair Cafe over at the library. We're going to talk about women's empowerment with She's Awakened. And we're also going to have a little bit of a treat with the Thursday music group. So we've got a great lineup next week. You know, I love doing this show because I meet the nicest people. I do.
Yeah.
I'm so happy.
It's wonderful.
So we want to encourage people to come to your to the Artisans Marketplace and partake in some of this, and think about like wedding gifts. Weddings coming up around the corner.
Indeed.
Art is just, and especially like a dish like that to be would be a wonderful gift for a wedding gift or something like that. The baskets are wonderful. These can be used, these are utilitarian as well, although I don't know if I want to put anything in it, but
Oh, you should.
I should. Yes, that's what did I just say? Art should be part of your life. Make it happen. And on pottery, of course, you can always put stuff in pottery. And I love this should go in a bookstore, I think.
You can
almost.
always have
Well,
a pro
it
in your
actually is in my home.
Oh, it's in
on
your
a
home.
shelf,
It's
so
yours.
I get to
Okay.
talk to him every day.
You talk to him every day, and does he ever quote back?
Once in a while. Once in a while.
And he says, nevermore.
Well, he hasn't said that yet, fortunately.
But I'm so glad that you came today and showed us some of these unique, I will say unique, these are very unique pieces.
Thank you.
And your selection was excellent.
Good.
Yeah.
I'm glad.
So I'm going to have to come over and visit you guys and
I
have
hope
them go to
so.
the Roundhouse or whatever it
Yeah.
is next door and have a
Yes.
few of that little pastries there. Sounds like a nice summer drive or a